If you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that the bane of my life is the electric radiators at home because they cost so much to run. And I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to get an air-to-water heat pump or an air-to-air heat pump. I'm here at the house of Tim and Kat. They have a channel, Tim and Kat's Green Walk. They're good friends of mine. They've got an air-to-air heat pump, air conditioning effectively. I'm going to ask them about their experience and I'll see if that's going to work for us. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. So, that's Tim and that's Kat.
Hi.
And this is their lovely home and they're going to give me a guided tour and then we're going to chat about air conditioning and how it's been for them and what they would change, if anything, and the costs and all that kind of thing. Tim and Kat have a channel called Tim and Kat's Green Walk, which is fantastic, and it's all about their adventures with solar, batteries, air-to-air, heat pump, of course.
So it all started in the hallway here when we were first thinking about heating this house, and we thought, well, actually, air conditioning would be quite good for us because our windows are absolutely massive. So the house does tend to heat up quite a bit in the summer. And I was thinking, well, if we got air conditioning, that would also help to do our heating in the winter. So that would kill two birds with one stone. And I thought, well, the first place I would put a unit is in the hall here because it could then fill the whole sort of upstairs space.
Yeah.
And that was originally going to be the only unit we were going to get. But then I was thinking, well, actually, we could also add another unit in the lounge and a unit in the office and maybe a unit in the back room as well. And then all of a sudden we were up to 5 units and more or less the entire house.
Right.
So that's ultimately what we ended up doing.
So it's addictive, just like EVs and like solar panels and all that. You just want more and more, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You start with one and then it just escalated quite badly.
Although we did get them all installed all in one go rather
Yeah.
than adding to it. But it's something
Sure.
you can do actually if you did go down that route and wanted to sort of gradually build up
Yes.
a piece at a time. That's something that's possible.
Because this is a split system, right?
Yes, it's what's called a multi-split. So we've actually got 2 outdoor units, but you can do it with a single outdoor unit, which has multiple ports that take the refrigerant lines to the individual indoor units. So you can have up to 5 indoor units, all running off of a single outdoor unit.
Yeah.
So that's possible to do, yeah.
And you may have seen it already, but we had air-to-air in our previous house. So I've done a video about that with my wife, and there we had the multi-split system, and I think we had 4 units there from memory. But so I really liked it. My wife didn't like it quite so much, and in fact we did do a video. Tim and Kat love it, you see.
Maybe they are pretending that they like it.
And Tim and Kat did a video about our video. So anyway, these units, so what are they, Toshiba?
Toshiba Haori units.
They look very slick. They look much nicer than our Panasonic units used to.
It definitely is what sold me on it because I was unconvinced by ugly white boxes as I thought it was going to be on the walls. And Tim showed me these and I went, oh, these are quite nice. The one in the hallway here is the plain white, but you'll see some of the other ones have got covers, fabric covers.
Yeah.
In fact, you can choose from a range of colours and I think there are even custom ones you can have made. So yeah, you can make it look however you want, really.
And there you go, you see, that looks classy, doesn't it?
So we get a lot of people coming into the house to see, and when they see these units, they say, "Oh, they look like large speakers on the walls," and I think they're absolutely right. I think the texturing of the fabric gives that sort of impression. But this is the dark grey, and you'll see in some of the other rooms we've actually got the lighter grey. We thought we just matched it to the whatever we felt was most appropriate for the particular room. This room is the one we spend most of our time in the evenings. It's sort of our little snug area where we watch TV and stuff like that. So this one felt like the darker grey was more appropriate.
Now already I can see that this is better than the one that we had in our lounge because it's the positioning really that my wife had a problem with before, and we had our unit just above the sofa. And of course you don't have that issue here. So it was the feeling of hot or cold air blowing on us. That's what my wife didn't like.
Strong air in your face, moving your hair and not heating you properly.
So the positioning is so much better here. That's in a very sensible place.
Yeah, that's exactly what we planned it carefully so that the unit was not facing the sofa. And when we run it in heating mode, we have literally the vents pointing just straight down. They don't move side to side. So the hot air comes down to the ground and then just sort of spreads out and sort of gradually filters up.
Yeah. And it's lovely, even, you know, over on the sofa, it's lovely and comfortable. I mean, I guess there was a practical issue as well in that the unit being on that wall, the outside unit is on the other side.
Right.
So if we'd wanted to have it somewhere else, there would have been potentially ducting to run as well. So it actually worked really well that that position is good for the outside unit.
Yeah.
And also good for not blowing hot or cold air on us.
Yeah. And that's the other thing about ours, is that it wasn't on an outside wall. So we had a little pump that would make little noises.
We'll go through into we call it the hub. It's a sort of social area that we use when we have guests. We really like this room because it's also connected to the kitchen, so we can, when we're cooking, we can still talk to our guests. So in this room we decided on the lighter grey covering, and this is actually a more powerful unit than the one in the lounge. It's got a higher wattage of heat or cooling output.
And that's because it's a larger room.
Because it's a much larger room, and obviously it's at the one end of quite a long room. So with this one we actually tend to have the vents pointing slightly more out rather than down, so that it fills the space a little bit better.
Yeah. And you find that works well?
That works great, yeah. It completely fills the kitchen and this area in the winter with nice warm air, or in the summer, particularly because we've got these very large bifolds that you can see behind. This is west facing, so the evening or the afternoon sun comes in here, really heats up this room, so the cooling is extremely valuable. Yes. In particular, this room. So yeah, that works really well with having this one more powerful unit.
Yeah. I think once anyone's had cooling, it's very difficult to not have it anymore. Yeah, and especially with bifold, you get quite a lot of thermal gain. Is that what they call it?
That's what they call it.
That looks really classy and lovely. In our air conditioning video, someone said, "My God, that looks like a carbuncle on the wall," or something like that. So it wasn't great. But also because this, you don't have any ducting or anything, and we had the ducting.
We were lucky in some respects that the majority of the where we wanted to position the units was on that outside wall near to where the outside units would be positioned. Yeah. So that worked great for the majority of them, but there is a small caveat which I'll get to later on.
I like caveats.
Let's go upstairs.
Okay, so this is the study.
This is the office where we do all our stuff, and we both work from home now, so we spend an awful lot of time in here. This is east facing, so it catches the morning sun. And this room does, again, it gets really warm, particularly when it's very sunny on a summer's morning. Yes. So we do make use of the cooling quite a bit in here. But yeah.
This was probably the second unit that we thought about getting after the one in the hallway was for the office because of being in here all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And this one, again, we went for the lighter colouring of the cover because it matched the sort of the lighter aesthetic of the room. Not that matters a lot, but we just felt that it was more appropriate for some reason.
So I think having something that actually works with the furnishings and everything, it's good. So obviously you're sat there, and that's just there. So do you find that it bothers you at all, or I mean, how do you direct it?
Where does this one go straight down?
Yeah, so in the winter when we're heating, again, we basically angle the vents straight down. So I know there's some stuff in the way, but it does tend to, the air gets pushed to the ground, and you don't tend to notice it particularly. I mean, I'm a bit further away, but do you notice it in the?
I don't think so, and I wasn't always sat here. I used to sit actually facing the window.
But we rearranged
over here. I don't think I have noticed it.
No.
I mean, I guess maybe very occasionally I might, but not to be any kind of issue at all.
Yeah, so what we tend to do is run low and slow in the same way you would an air-to-water heat pump, right. Which means that the fans are usually on just the lowest output, which means it's just trickling the heat in, and there's not really a big sort of draft of warm air. Yeah. And in when we're needing cooling, we angle the vents more or less straight along horizontally, so the cold air kind of forms a layer which then sort of sinks down. Oh, okay. So it doesn't, we don't have the vents sort of moving and blowing around that way. Yeah. So that helps us again to prevent that feeling of kind of drafts on you as well. So, yeah.
And what's the insulation like in this house?
Pretty decent, yeah. So actually the roof insulation is extremely good. I even added some more. So when we moved in, I think it was 40 centimetres. Okay. And then I added another 10. and then I also put some insulated board on top of that. So there's a ridiculous amount. It's absolutely insane. But the main issue we've got actually is the huge windows.
Okay.
So in the winter, they just leak heat straight out. I don't know why they didn't put triple glazing in here.
Yeah.
Well, cost.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
So one thing I'd like to do in the fullness of time is to replace the windows with triple glazing.
Yeah.
If that happens anytime soon, who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, the roof insulation is very good, but the windows kill us in a different way. So
Yeah, of course.
both from heating up in the summer, but also cooling down very quickly in the winter.
Yeah. It's one of the only good decisions we've made at our new house is putting in triple glazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it does make a big difference.
I'm sure it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to do it eventually. So the final indoor unit is in the main bedroom. This one was a little bit more complicated because the external wall where we would normally run into the wall for the other units that you've seen, we weren't able to do that because of the built-in wardrobe.
Yeah.
So we had to be a little bit more creative with this one, and it's on the wall next to the ensuite, and therefore we've got a little bit of ducting that run on the inside of the ensuite.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Cleverly hidden it.
Yes. So it comes through the wall from the outside wall, and it just runs along and then out into where the unit is on the inside of the wall.
Okay.
So it's not too much.
No,
so
no.
only a little bit, and nobody else will see it unless you come into the ensuite.
Yeah.
One thing I would have done differently if I was to do this again is rather than having indoor units here on the wall, I would have gone for a system with ducting in the loft space.
Yeah.
So you can get a unit that will sit literally in the loft void, and with effectively duct pipes to each of the indoor rooms. So if we'd gone that route, we could have gotten away with not having the unit here, and we could have gotten away with not having the unit in the office, and we would have also been able to cover the two rooms that currently don't have heating.
Okay.
Which is the caveat I mentioned earlier,
Okay.
because on the other side of the house, which is opposite to where we have the outdoor units, the spare rooms do not have units.
How cold do these rooms get?
So what we tend to do in the winter is leave the doors open, and this room will probably equilibrate to something like 18 degrees. Thereabouts. So we normally set the temperature of the units to about 21. So everywhere else in the house is about 21. But this room and the other spare bedroom that doesn't have a unit tends to get to about 18 degrees, 17 or 18 degrees in the depths of winter. And that's often okay. When we have guests around, we have a fan heater in the spare room just in case they need a little bit of a boost. But that's the one sort of compromise that we made at the time.
Yeah.
Which, if we'd known about the ducted units, we would have probably gone that route instead, and then that would have covered the whole of the upstairs much more neatly and more efficiently. So
And may well still do so at some point if someone decides that they need a new project.
How big are the ducted units anyway? I mean, is it like just a kind of a hole, like a circular hole, or is it like a big kind of thing?
So the unit itself, which will sit in the loft, is a sort of cassette. It's about, I guess, 15 centimetres deep, and it's sort of a big rectangle basically. Right. And then that will have ports on the front which will take the air to each individual room. So I think you can have a variety of styles of vent that are actually in the ceilings. I think they can be circular or slots.
Yeah.
And obviously then the cold or hot air comes out of those, and then there's a return vent that takes the air from the room back to get to the unit so that it can get heated or cooled, and then come back down through the output vent. So you'd effectively have two vents in each room.
Yeah.
And that will provide the heating or cooling for the entire upstairs.
Right. Yeah, because I mean the cassette ones, the sort of letterbox looking ones, I've seen those in hotel rooms quite a lot, of course.
So they're exactly the same units.
Yeah.
And you can have those, in the space above the rooms, but you can have a single unit with these ducts going into multiple rooms.
How do you heat your water?
So that's a very good question. The one compromise obviously with an air-to-air system is typically you don't get domestic hot water with that. So we actually have a Mixergy integrated heat pump cylinder in the garage. You can get away with just a normal cylinder with an immersion heater in it. That works just fine. And if you've got an overnight tariff, such as Intelligent Go or something, you can use that to heat your hot water overnight, and that's still pretty cost effective, actually, about the same cost as a gas boiler.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of obsessed with getting to the point where we are net zero in terms of sort of how much we consume versus how much we generate on our solar.
Yeah.
And I wanted to reduce our consumption, so I actually we replaced our cylinder with a heat pump cylinder. So it's basically a normal hot water cylinder, but it's got a heat pump sat on the top,
right.
And that then acts in the same way as an air to water heat pump.
Yeah.
But it just does the hot water for the house.
Just wanted a new toy to play with.
Yes, more or less. Yeah.
And Kat, how obsessed are you with all this stuff, or is it mainly Tim's projects?
Yeah, I mostly just go along with it.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it though.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm...
You're very understanding, yeah, I would say.
I do really enjoy it. I enjoy hearing about it and being involved in it.
Yeah.
Definitely Tim is driving all of this. But that is a really good thing because I just get all the benefits. I just have to give a few opinions here and there, and then I get, for example, the house is beautifully warm. I've never ever been more comfortable. It's lovely. There's, obviously we have no energy bills.
Yeah.
I just get all the upsides really, and he does all the hard work. So
Okay.
I think that works out quite well for me.
That's a lovely way of thinking about it. Okay. I'm going to tell my wife that.
This is the garage, and this is the Mixergy IHP. So the bottom bit is the hot water cylinder, and then the actual heat pump is in the top part here. And you can see these very large vents here are what draw. Well, this is the one that pulls the air in from outside. The heat pump does its magic,
Yeah.
And then the cold air gets spat out of that other shorter pipe, and obviously the heat gets transferred into the water in the process. So yeah, it's very efficient, and I've obviously been keeping a record of all of the statistics, of course, and I've measured the difference in the efficiency between this and the old immersion heater we were using, and we're getting at least 3 to 1
Right.
out of this. So yeah, it's about the same as you typically get from an air to water system that does your hot water as well as your heating.
We used to have a Mixergy. It wasn't a heat pump one, but we used to have one in a previous house, and I really loved the app with all the stats you get on it.
Yeah.
And being able to see what level of hot water you've got and that kind of thing. I mean, you're enjoying it, are you? Do you like it?
Yeah, it's worked pretty much flawlessly since we had it installed. We've had it for a couple of years now.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, so it's worked really well.
Just to say, your garden is absolutely perfectly curated. Is it? Who's got the green fingers?
Kat does all the garden planning. Bit of an awkward space, honestly. But they just about fit.
Okay, yeah.
Normally, you'd want a bit more space for ventilation, but our fences are they're not solid. They've actually got slats.
Okay.
So we felt that we took a bit of a risk, and we thought, well, we'll see how it goes, because the cold air can diffuse through the gaps and out the other side.
Yeah.
And actually, they're perfectly efficient. We've not noticed them be, less efficient than you'd normally expect. So as far as we can tell, they work just fine, even in this sort of relatively restricted space.
It's actually a really good space for them. I mean, it's not like you're not going to be using this for much else, right? I
No,
mean,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a dead end.
Yeah.
And these ducts here is what takes the refrigerant lines and the power to the indoor unit. So this is the one that goes into the lounge where we watch TV. This is the one that goes to the office.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 more in that direction.
Okay, yeah.
That go to the other units. One's the ensuite and one's the one in the main hub area. Yeah. And then there's another one that actually goes out the bottom and round the front of the house, and that's the one that feeds into the hallway unit.
Right.
So that's sort of hidden underneath the lounge window.
Okay. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, so it all works very neatly.
Completely forgot to ask you, what's the app like? Do you find the Toshiba app good?
It's okay. So it's pretty straightforward to set up schedules for when you want it to come on, at what temperature, and you can set up all of the units independently.
Okay.
And you can group them together and things like that. So it's not too bad. The one thing I was a little bit disappointed about with these ones was the lack of energy consumption statistics.
Yeah.
But actually, the updated version of these units now do support that.
Okay.
So we were probably about a year too soon for that sort of level of detail.
It was the same with our Panasonic ones.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a kind of naff app, really, and there just wasn't enough of the stats. It's actually quite cold today, isn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't know it in the house. That's how well insulated your house is. The big question is, how much did all this cost?
So the air conditioning install was about £8,000, just over. The Mixergy was another couple of thousand on top of that, but you can more or less consider that as a sort of separate thing. Yeah. But yeah, just the cooling was the cooling and the heating was about £8,000.
Yeah, okay, which is about consistent with what I think I paid at the previous house.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, now it's getting added to the grant, isn't it? Is that right?
Yes. So the boiler upgrade scheme that's currently available for the air-to-water systems of £7,500. They're adding air-to-air at £2,500.
Okay.
So obviously the level of the grant is a lot less, but typically you'll find an air-to-air install is often less than an air-to-water install anyway.
Yeah.
So that should bring them roughly into alignment. So if you were to replace and you do have to replace your gas central heating if you've got gas central heating,
Yeah.
then both options would be equivalent in terms of price, I think.
If you did it all again, what would you do differently?
And he has thought about this extensively.
Yeah, so I think in terms of the ground floor, that's basically fine.
Yeah.
The upstairs, I think it would be a lot neater, and we would cover more of the upstairs if we went for a ducted system. And that would probably mean that we could have gotten away with a single outdoor unit rather than two, because we've got 5 indoor units, and at the time it was felt that we needed the 2 outdoor units to provide enough power to support all of the 5 indoor units. If I'd known then what I know now, I know that I could have gotten away with a single 5-way split outdoor unit, and that would have been more than adequate for the 5 indoor units,
Yeah.
given the heat loss of this house. And actually, we could have replaced the 2 upstairs units with a single loft-mounted ducted unit, and that would have then covered all 4 bedrooms.
Yeah.
And we would have been able to get away with a single outdoor unit. So those are the 2 main things I would have done differently.
Okay. Now, a lot of people complain, well, they don't complain, a lot of people think that heat pumps are loud,
Yeah.
don't they? And you've got 2 of them
Yeah.
on the outside. How loud are they? Do people get annoyed? Do your neighbours moan at you?
No,
Nope.
certainly
Okay.
haven't said anything. We've found that they're sort of partway down the side passage there. By the time you have walked from where the heat pumps are to either end, really, of it, you can't hear them.
Yeah, it's only really noticeable when it's super cold outside and they're working a bit harder than they normally would. You can just about hear them through the extractor fan in the ensuite, which is near to where those units are. But otherwise, they're literally the other side of the wall from where we sit and watch TV, and we never hear them in the house from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we've never had any complaints from our next door neighbour. So that's
No
that's the
angry
important-
letters?
No.
No, good.
No.
Well, I think it's probably good. We did. One of them did comment about some noise from a dripping gutter.
Okay.
So I feel they would let us know
Yeah.
if there
So-
was a noise,
Yeah, no.
and they haven't. So I
Yeah.
can only assume that they're fine.
Yeah. So something that my wife didn't like, as we've said about the positioning, she didn't like the positioning of the units and the blowing of the hot air on us and things like that. She also, I don't think, really liked the look of them. Obviously,
Yeah.
you've solved that. But there are different types available. You were talking about the ducted
Yes.
systems.
Yep.
So you've got these wall units, ducted systems, but what else is available?
You can also get floor-mounted systems that look a lot like traditional radiators, actually. So they work in exactly the same way as the wall-mounted units, with a heat exchanger and a sort of a fan inside. But instead of the air sort of coming out from high up on your wall, they basically come out vertically from the back of the radiator-style unit. So there's vents in the top, and there's also vents in the bottom.
Yeah.
So you can get cold or warm air blowing up from either the top or at the bottom of these units. And I think that's quite a good option for people who prefer that sort of radiator style and
Yeah.
don't want the sort of units up on the wall,
Yeah.
because you can more or less just replace any existing radiators with these floor-mounted systems.
Yes.
And again, they have a a refrigerant line running through to the back of them in the same way the wall units do.
Right.
But if you position them carefully, then you shouldn't be able to necessarily be worried about ducts in your house, or refrigerant lines or anything like that. They could all be external.
Yeah. And talking of refrigerant, I should have asked you that.
Yeah.
Is it R32?
These ones are R32.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's pretty standard now for air conditioning. I think there are some fancy new ones in kind of being introduced that I think have a slightly lower global warming potential.
Yeah.
But I worked out actually that these ones, the amount of carbon we save is offset within a couple of years anyway. So even if all of the refrigerant leaked,
Right.
which hopefully it shouldn't do,
Yeah.
but if all of the refrigerant leaked from our units, we'd have still offset that by having a lower carbon heating solution.
Yeah. And obviously we've spoken about the cost of it all. How much have you saved compared to gas boiler? Did you have gas? I'm assuming you had gas before, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we did. So I worked out that obviously we have our solar system as well and battery, and that does help an awful lot in the winter in particular. And I reckon that it costs about half as much to run our heating now compared to what it would versus gas.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, so whatever your heating bill was, halve it, and that's roughly what we're talking here.
Yes.
And I think it has the other benefits that you can't put a cost on. The fact I like the fact that we don't have radiators, so the space can be used more flexibly by having units on the wall. The heating is, because we run it low and slow, it's so comfortable. It's just nice all the time. And then the cooling that we get from this, which we wouldn't with, you wouldn't get that with any other system.
Yeah.
The cooling is so valuable. Yeah, there's a lot more to it as well.
Yeah, I mean the comfort is definitely up there. We've been very happy with that. And of course, if you didn't have solar and battery, then it would cost roughly about the same as a gas boiler to run.
Yeah.
But yeah, so really the benefit is when you start combining all of these technologies together.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. And that's where it starts to get quite addictive.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. It's funny because air conditioning is considered a little bit of a novelty, I think, in this country. Less so. It's becoming less so, really, with each year that passes. But these are very common in continental Europe, obviously.
Yeah,
I mean, they're very, very common. And it makes sense. And even in very, very cold countries. So that's the other thing. People say, well, heat pumps don't work in freezing temperatures. Well, they do. They work well.
I think these are very common in Finland, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're really keen on their air-to-air heat pumps. So yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think with the warmer weather, I think people in this country are going to start to get on board, maybe from the cooling part of it, which,
Yes.
and then if they realise they can use them for heating as well,
Yeah.
it could be a really good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So overall, you're happy?
Absolutely.
Oh, delighted, yes.
Yep.
Give me the reasons we should go air to air. Make your case.
Well, I would say the cooling is the obvious benefit. I don't think we would have made a different choice based simply because of the benefits of that for in this house in particular.
Yeah, comfort-wise, I think it would be, from the heating point of view, I think it would be similar. I like the lack of radiators on the walls.
Yeah, that's a big benefit.
And the cooling.
Yeah, those are the big ones, really.
Probably is that.
Yeah, I would say for most UK households, air to water is probably still the best option. If you've already got the radiators plumbed into a wet system.
Yeah.
But I mean, your situation, you don't have that.
We've got a clean slate.
You've got a clean slate, so it's an ideal. I would say air to air is the obvious option for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much less disruption than getting
Yes.
radiators all plumbed in.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we had one guy installing ours, just
Oh,
one
right,
guy
yeah.
on his own. I mean, it took him a few days, but
Yeah.
if it was a bigger team, it would be done and dusted so fast. I
Yeah.
do also think we were quite lucky with the positioning, with where we were able to put the units on the inside and the outside,
Yes.
that it didn't cause too much hassle with actually installing them, but also with the ducting and what have you. So I could see that some houses maybe wouldn't be so lucky in that. I think there was an element of luck there that it did work out really well with the positions to put them.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I should have come here in winter, shouldn't I, really, and just seen what it was like. But it's very comfortable in the house, but then they're not on at the moment.
No,
so
that's true.
So are you team air to water or team air to air? Let me know in the comments. And thank you very much for watching this video. Do subscribe to Tim and Kat's Green Walk, because it's a fantastic channel. And if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, then press that button and press the alert button and like and all the rest of it. And I'll see you very soon. Thank you very much. Bye for now.